This is a simple drill for melting into the floor. It's really nice for opening the back. It will go through phases of strengthening aspects of the abdominals and even intercostals and ribs. But the idea is to move past that, right? It's not here to be a muscular endurance exercise. It's here to be a release exercise. As part of the process of release, you necessarily have to go through strengthening weak links, but the overall idea is to get them strong so they can too release. So it'll actually move where the effort is over time, and this is what we want. To set up, you just want your feet roughly shoulder width in the ground. You don't want to be too far apart so the ankles feel like they're stretched. You don't want to be too close in so you're like cramming the back of the knees. Put your feet in a position so the back of the knees feel like they have some space and the ankles feel like they have some space. You're just going to need to mess around with that a bit to really find the sweet spot. Then from there, you want to take your back and pull your back onto the ground so there is no space from the back of the hips, the sacrum and the posterior hips, all the way through to roughly somewhere on the middle or the top of the shoulder blades, depending on your anatomy. And the hands just want to rest in the ground on the side. Let the shoulders roll out. Some people with really tight shoulders are going to have trouble with this. It's going to kind of feel like this. That's okay. Just stay with that. Over time, the shoulders will release and melt into the ground too. And same with the neck. The idea is to get space in the neck. If I have too much of a pillow, I'm going to close the front of the neck. But if I'm really tight in the neck and the head's dropping back, then I'm closing the back of the neck, which I don't want either. I want a nice in-between where the head feels like it's got space in the front and the back and doesn't feel too cranked. If you need a little pillow to achieve that at the start, that's fine. Over time, as things release more, you should be able to get reasonably flat. To get the back onto the ground, you may need a bit of tension in the abdominals, in the center here somewhere. Use whatever you need to the least possible effort that you can find. So tense the abs the least you need, the minimal tension to get the back in contact with the ground. And then just hold there, and we're going to work on releasing the effort without losing the contact with the back. We'll get to that in a sec. I'll just talk about the legs first. The legs want to be in such a state that they feel as if they are suspended from the kneecaps by two invisible strings going to the ceiling. And you want to relax the whole of the upper leg so it feels like they could easily fall out or easily fall in. And you want to relax the whole of the lower leg in the same way. If you do it right, it'll feel like you're kind of balancing the legs on this ledge where they could easily fall either way if not for this invisible string of intent holding them up to the sky. Then allow the weight to melt down the legs and kind of pile down into the quad and through the quad into the back of the hips. And allow the weight from the lower leg to release down the leg and kind of start to fill the foot and let the foot go be pressed into the ground by the weight draining out of the legs. So you want both of these to be happening all the time. A really simple way of achieving that, if you can't feel release or anything clearly at this point in time, is to simply keep the intent of the kneecaps to the ceiling and let everything else relax like it's a dead weight. Like you're no longer trying to hold the leg up. You're just relaxing as deeply as possible. Okay, so that's the leg sorted. I need to be doing that the whole time. Then I'm going to take the back, and here on the back I have two phases. On phase one, I'm going to actively stretch out the back, which might need a little bit more tension through the front here. So I use the front to help the back hit the ground and like spread out like like it's being splooshed into the ground like this. And phase two, I'm going to keep all the contact I just made by spreading out and relax as much of the tension as I can. Phase one, I spread everything out, including the neck, including the shoulders. Phase two, I release the tension through the body into the ground, just melt downwards into the ground. Phase 1, I spread out. Phase 2, I melt. If you'd like, you can just have these phases be arbitrary lengths. You're just going to play with the opening until it feels pretty open, then play with the melting and release until it feels nice and sunk, and then open, spreading out a bit, then releasing in whatever pace you want. If that's not working for you, you can time it with the breath. So I'm going to breathe in and spread out, and breathe out and maintain my contact points from spreading out, but release all the tension. Breathe in, I spread out everywhere. Breathe out, I release all the excessive tension without losing the back contact with the ground. You can also have this process extend into the arm. So I'll put this hand a little lower so you can see. As I breathe in, I'm going to spread the hands as well and spread the shoulders out and make a lot of contact with the arms and the ground. And I can even do the same with the feet, exacerbating or exaggerating the opening process, spreading out. As I breathe out, I keep the opening and I release all the excess tension melting through the opening into the ground. Phase 1, I spread out. It can go with the in-breath or not. Phase 2, I release and melt into the ground. And I'm just going to keep repeating this for as long as I feel like doing it. You'll start to go through phases where you really feel like the abs are holding and it's like a core workout. But every phase 2, you should be releasing that to whatever degree you're capable of. At the moment, it may not release at all. It's no problem as long as the intent, the concept of release is there, the idea of release, then at some point it will release. It's not a problem at all. But you really want to emphasize this spreading out and releasing, spreading out and releasing, making sure that when you release, you don't let your back come off the ground. The back must stay in as much contact with the ground the whole time as you can manage. The release is just whatever's not necessary to achieve that, you're letting go of. So work this a bit. Let me know how you go. You just want to work it in this basic position. There's no formalities at this stage about getting in and out of the position. It's just to feel that quality of spreading out and melting into the ground. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more or support my work, head on over to my website, craigmallet.com. You're also welcome to join my community, which can be found at community.craigmallet.com or via the menu on my main website. I generally have a number of services available. If you'd like some help, just reach out. I have a student program, I have online courses, I have workshops and private consultations, all available to any who would want it. As always, to appease the algorithm gods, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and/or share.